Am I the a-hole for revealing my parents' lifestyle to my grandparents? About 4 weeks ago, I started noticing strange looks from certain acquaintances during my lectures or when I was in the dining hall. Soon, I got a text from a good friend saying he was sorry for what I was going through. I was genuinely confused about what he was talking about. After further questioning, he told me that a mutual acquaintance of ours had been bragging about hooking up with an older woman and had shared some lewd pics. One of our friends recognized the woman as my mother. At first, I didn't believe it. I thought he was messing with me. I even joked back, saying, "Pics for it didn't happen," expecting him to clap back. Instead, he sent a photo, and it really was my mother. I was completely traumatized when I saw the picture and felt sick. I didn't know how to bring it up to my parents, wondering if my mom was cheating on my dad. Since I live with them, I decided to bring it up the next day by calling a family meeting. I didn't want to do this, but I felt my dad needed to know and confront my mother. When I mentioned it to my parents, their reaction caught me off guard. They both looked shocked and ashamed. My dad couldn't meet my eyes, and my mom was covering her face and crying. The truth was something I wasn't ready to hear and honestly wish wasn't true. Apparently, my parents are swingers. They hook up with people outside their marriage. My dad was well aware that my mom had hooked up with an acquaintance of mine. I admit I got belligerent. I cursed at them, told them my mom was disgusting for hooking up with someone around my age, and said she was selfish for risking hooking up with a potential peer of mine without considering the repercussions on me. She tried to defend herself, saying she only knew he went to the same college but didn't realize he was in my circle or would share those photos. I told her that was a pathetic excuse and that she had still been willing to take the risk. Then she started sobbing terribly. My parents keep trying to apologize, but I tell them to go to hell. I can't have dinner with them or look them in the eye, and I can hear them cry at night. It's been incredibly hard to go to school, and I've been missing lectures, self-studying whenever I can. I decided to share what was going on with my grandparents. They're allowing me to move in with them so I can attend community college in another state. This didn't happen without my grandparents berating my parents though. Now my parents are upset with me getting my grandparents involved. Now for the top comments. You're the a-hole. Your parents are human. Humans are horny. It sounds like you grew up in a place that likes to shame people getting their freak on. It's not fair for me to suffer due to them getting their freak on. How are you suffering? Are people making fun of you? Do they throw rocks when you go by? Or is it the very knowledge that someone at your college has boinked your parent? Your disgust is your own reaction, and it's clear that your parents had no malicious intent. Yeah, I am being made fun of. People who I don't even know are asking me if my mom is available. Hey, I just want to take a second and reframe the situation here. Someone had intimate media of your mom and shared it without her consent. That's heinous and a serious breach of her privacy. That's also a crime in many jurisdictions. Your mom was seriously wronged here, and you've managed to make this all about yourself. The guy is a complete piece of trash for doing that. I can be sympathetic on that part, while being upset with my parents getting involved in a situation that would affect the entire family. My mother knew beforehand that this a-hole was not only around my age, but went to the same college as me. That should have been more than enough to steer clear away from him. To all the YTA voters, how would you feel if you're living your life and thinking everything is going nicely, then you notice people looking at you weird? You're getting the feeling like you did something wrong. Then your classmate/friend tells you that a mutual friend has slept with your mom, and pictures were involved. And you see the pictures. Your current reality is now shattered, and when confronting your parents, they tell you they're swingers, living a mutual lifestyle that also overlaps with your friend base and classmates. And you had no knowledge of what was happening. Don't tell me you wouldn't have been disgusted and traumatized. I call bull. Haven't we seen stories like this, where the child always finds out in the most egregious way and it never works out? If OP is younger than 21, I'd say their reaction is very valid. If OP is over the age of 21, maybe they should have approached their parents without guns blazing. Either way, the parents should have kept their child in the dark, especially when one of them is getting involved with their peers. I'm torn between everyone sucks here but leaning towards not the a-hole. Thank God someone agrees, lol. How the heck are so many people slating this kid? His mom slept with his classmate and knew they go to the same college. WTF? Swing all you want, but there has to be precautions taken. And it sounds like they were selfish enough to let their horniness get in the way of their own kid's life. Next story. Am I the a-hole for immediately donating the gifts my stepmother bought for my children? I, 34 female, have no contact with my stepmother, Mary. Long story, not worth explaining. It's been 5 years since I cut her off from my and my family's lives. As such, she hasn't seen my son 8 male since he was 3, and she has never met my daughter 4 female. Throughout the years, she has tried to contact me and my kids several times. My father used to help her sometimes and tell me how awful she felt, how much she wanted to meet my daughter, and that the kids needed their grandma. I've never considered her a grandparent, as both my mother and mother-in-law are active in their lives. After several arguments, my father apologized and stopped assisting her, but Mary still tries to get in touch with me every now and then. I always state I have no interest in seeing her or allowing her to be a part of my children's lives. My son's birthday was in September. That day, when neither of my kids were home, a large box was delivered to our building. I opened it to find more than a dozen new toys for my children, along with a note that read, "Grandma Mary loves you both." As I later found out, she had bought the toys on a recent trip to the US. I couldn't think of this as anything besides a manipulation tactic. My children are barely aware that she exists, so why would she send them both a box full of toys on my son's birthday? I also think she planned a delivery for a time she thought the kids would be home, so they'd see the toys immediately. Either way, my husband and I decided not to keep any of the toys. We donated them all throughout October, and the kids never saw any of them. Last week, my father called me. He said Mary had just told him about the toys and wanted to know whether the kids liked them. I told him the truth, and we had an argument. My father called me cruel and ungrateful for what I did. He said he understands that Mary and I don't get along, but she still cared enough to spend hundreds of dollars on a loving gesture for my children, and the least I could have done was let them know about it. I honestly couldn't imagine keeping those toys, but I'd be lying if I said the amount of money spent on them didn't make me feel guilty. Am I the a-hole? I mean, I do kind of want to know the story, lol. Of course not the a-hole. No contact means no contact. You didn't ask her to spend money on gifts that shouldn't have been sent. Several fights later, my father apologized and stopped assisting her, but Mary still tries to get in touch with me every now and then. There must be a good reason why she went no contact. Even her father apologized to OP until now. Either he thought everything would cool down and he will have his family together, or Mary's manipulating him so bad. Anyway, OP is not the a-hole. She turned a disgusting action into a good one. She did the right thing in both ways. Not the a-hole, not the a-hole, not the a-hole. Mary knew exactly what she was doing, as she's been doing this stuff for at least 5 years. What you decided to do with the toys a stranger attempted to give your children was to donate them back to people in need. Some might throw them away, but you put the toys to good use. It might be time to go low contact with your dad if he can't respect your boundaries as well. No contact with your stepmom. Tell your father if her behavior does not stop immediately, then you'll have to reconsider how much contact you'll have with him. Keep protecting your children. I used to be low contact with my father. When I cut contact with Mary, she spent a few months trying to use him as a messenger. He's since agreed to stop, and our relationship has been improving. But I do intend to proceed with caution if he can't sort this out. She's also had her mother call me to tell me off 3 times, and her brother once. I've blocked them both. He since agreed to stop. Oh honey, if you think for an instant he didn't know that box was coming and went along with the manipulation, I'm sorry to break it to you, but he's still Team Mary through and through. He said he didn't know about the toys until Mary told him. I think she expected a thank you note or something. I'm not sure I believe that, but that's not really what I'm concerned about right now. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not letting my mom come to my wedding after she ignored me my whole life? I, 26 male, am getting married to my fiancée, let's call her Sarah, 25 female, in a few months. And I'm super excited about it. But there's one big issue with all the planning. My mom. A little background. My parents divorced when I was 8, and my mom, let's call her Layla, remarried pretty quickly after that. She married this guy Dave who had 2 kids of his own. Ever since, it's like I was no longer a priority in her life. She focused all her attention on Dave and his kids. I'm not exaggerating when I say she treated them way better than me. They'd go on trips, she'd go to all their sports events, and they'd get everything they wanted. Meanwhile, I felt like I was invisible. She didn't ask about my school, didn't care about my friends, or even my mental health. I started to feel like I wasn't even her kid anymore. When I turned 18, I moved out. I thought maybe she'd care and try to stay in touch, but nope, she didn't. I'll text her once in a while just to check in, and she'd either not respond or say she was busy with Dave and his kids. I figured if she didn't care, why should I? So, I just stopped trying to reach out. Fast forward to now. I'm planning my wedding and out of nowhere, my mom starts texting me like we're super close. She wants to know all the details, saying how excited she is and even saying things like, I can't wait to see you start this new chapter. Like, seriously? I haven't heard from her in years, and now she expects to be front and center at my wedding? I told her straight up that I didn't want her there. I said I'm not comfortable with her coming after everything that's happened, and that if she really wants to have a relationship, we can talk about it after the wedding, but not before. She started crying, saying I'm holding a grudge and that I'm her son and she deserves to be there. But I don't know how I'm supposed to just forget the fact she ignored me my whole childhood in favor of Dave's kids. Now my family is split. Some of them think I'm right and that I shouldn't just let her show up when she never showed up for me. Others think I should just let it go, saying it's just one day and that I should let her come to the wedding to keep the peace. So, am I the a-hole for not letting my mom come to my wedding after everything that happened? She started crying and saying I'm holding a grudge and that I'm her son and she deserves to be there. And you're her son who deserved to have a mother that cared and prioritized you at least occasionally. But here you are. You're well within your rights to hold that grudge until you feel comfortable letting her back into your life, which is not now. Others think I should just let it go and it's just one day, and that I should let her come to the wedding to keep the peace. I hate this sentiment with a passion. What peace? You would not be at peace if you had your mom at your wedding. Childhood neglect is not something you forgive and forget for most people, especially when you've come to terms with not having a relationship with your parent. She doesn't get to waltz back in to ruin what's supposed to be one of the happiest days of your life. Not the a-hole. I'm with you. I absolutely hate the phrase, apologize to keep the peace. It's only ever said to the one in the right. So she must have some sort of flying monkeys among the people you are in touch with. Do you have any idea who? Someone has been keeping her abreast of developments. Or she wouldn't know anything about it. I'd be tempted to be as brutal as necessary. Tell anyone who raises the topic, I am not interested in granting her any kind of a redemption arc. I have learned how to live without her in my life, and she without me. I have every intention of keeping it that way. The subject is closed. I think we all can guess what will happen. Mom will show up, act like Mother of the Year, and try and take control of everything like planning. And demand a bunch of Mother of the Groom stuff like dance, etc. Get her pictures and then she will vanish again. She will post her pictures on social media or show them to everyone, of course those she's in, and get all her back pats. Oh, you are such a wonderful mother. And then she'll throw those pictures in a drawer and forget OP all over again. And the only moment she might pop up is if there's a grandchild so she can get even more back pats from people. Last story. Am I the a-hole for leaving my fiancé without telling him? To be honest, I don't know where to start. I just need a place to rant because too much is going through my head at once. I've been engaged for 3 months, and because weddings take time to plan, my partner and I decided to have it in December. But I don't think that's happening anymore. My fiancé, 29 male, and I, 28 female, have been together for 4 years, and earlier this year, he wanted to tie the knot. My fiancé has a daughter, 7, and I've been very involved in her life. She would call me Mom and see me as a mother figure since her own mother hasn't made much time for her. Her mom is still around, but often fails to pick her up or spend time with her when she's supposed to. I guess I should have known what I was getting into. My fiancé and the mother of his child were not good at co-parenting, which led to their daughter developing separation anxiety. I was often the one to step in and help her calm down. From my perspective, I thought my fiancé and the mother of his child hated each other. But I was wrong. The whole time, he was sneaking behind my back to be with her. I found text messages and videos of them together. It was a betrayal, especially considering I was the one trying to help them figure out their parenting issues. There was nothing I could have done to prevent it. When I found out, he was in the bathroom, and that night he just kept getting so many messages and calls. I now call myself the a-hole for looking through his phone, but the calls and messages were from his ex, and they were very explicit, as if they were a married couple. At this point, there's no reason to go through with the wedding. It's not good for my mental health. I know in my heart that this isn't something I can just sit around and accept quietly. While he was still in the shower, I had enough time to leave and go to my mom's. I was almost hyperventilating from the shock. It's so bad that I'm not in a mental state to talk to anyone. My friends are worried, but I don't even want to talk to them. Since last night, I've been getting texts from my fiancé and his daughter asking where I am. I still have to go back to get my things with my brother, but he wants me to calm down first. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole for not marrying him, but personally, I would have printed off screenshots and left them for him to find. Either way, he'll figure it out. Maybe OP should go back when he's at work or something to get her stuff and leave the screenshots on the table, if she could still get access to them. Not the a-hole. I feel sorry for you and this little girl. He and his ex are both a-holes. I don't understand co-parents like this. If you can't stand each other, then why continue sleeping together? Even if they are single, that just makes no sense to me. Not the a-hole. What you did was self-preservation. You needed to protect yourself. It's normal to feel regret for the daughter, but you should never marry this man. If he betrays you before marriage, it will only escalate. Take care of yourself, OP.